I realized that I'm a horrible mother and wife, so I started working relentlessly to mend my relationship with my husband and my kids. I just realized that I'm a horrible mother and wife. I always thought of myself as a super mom while thinking of my husband as a man-child, but unfortunately, life proved me horribly wrong. You see, I was used to coming home from work to my husband making food for our kids or helping them with their homework, while I myself would head off to the gym or for a run. I got used to this as a norm, and over time, stopped seeing the things he did around the house as valid. But then when my husband got the virus and I had to take over in caring for the kids, I noticed just how out of touch I was with them. I noticed that I couldn't cook for them because I didn't know how to. I couldn't help with their homework. I didn't know how to entertain them. All things my husband did flawlessly. He was used to pretending to be movie characters with them. He always kept them occupied with board games, puzzles he came up with himself, trips outside, taught them how to play Minecraft. He even taught my 11-year-old how to cook eggs, and I'm borderline ashamed to say that she can cook eggs better than I can. I wasn't even working while having to take care of the kids while my husband stayed away from us, and seeing firsthand how much work he did daily while working full-time blew my mind. That affair I thought of starting because I saw my husband as unworthy of me left my mind right away, and when my husband stopped quarantining from us, I really began paying attention to how much work he did with the kids. I noticed everything from the fact he cooked every meal for all of us to the fact he drove them everywhere and how he barely slept sometimes just to prepare lunch for us for school and work the next day. He tucks them in at night. He reads them bedtime stories. In the morning, he wakes them up, gets them ready for school, and drops them off before heading to work. He is also the one who picks them up. I, on the other hand, wake up leisurely, eat the breakfast already on the table which he has made for me, and then leave for work. During weekends, I get to have a girls' night on Saturdays and brunch on Sundays religiously. And he sometimes goes to meet his friends on Fridays, but stays in often because I make him by complaining or starting arguments as I feel neglected. The more I religiously monitored him, the more I realized he really is the dream dad and husband. He is constantly playing and hanging out with the kids, showing them lots of love. He gets 1 hour a day to himself and he uses it to play video games. I used to nag him about this hour, but now I see that this is the only time he gets to fully relax. I also notice that when I'm watching my TV shows, he's still playing with the kids. Sometimes they play Minecraft. I took a peek in their world and they've made huge structures. Sometimes they play with action figures and dolls. I'm so engrossed into it that it's like he's one of the kids. He does all of this while sitting on the ground next to me with them. All the times I felt like he doesn't show me affection, he constantly rubs my calf or lays his head against my knees as I sit on the couch, too focused on these dumb reality TV shows to notice. No wonder he's always so exhausted by the end of the day. I did a lot of reflection about all of this, and I realized that I really needed to start pulling my weight around the house or else there was a real possibility that my husband would divorce me. Last weekend, I decided to stay home rather than go out, and I saw them play with their homemade snakes and ladder game on Saturday night. On Sunday after breakfast, they brought out a huge box of junk, which they then used to make their own command center for their spaceship and role-played for the next 2 hours. I never knew they made these things. I felt so left out and awkward because I wanted to get involved like my husband, but just didn't see any place for myself. I don't think they'll ever be as engaged with me as they are with him. I can only wonder how he's coping with all of this on his own silently. I bet he's enjoying himself, but it seems so taxing. So a few days went by and I honestly was very scared on how to even begin, but one of the days I saw an opening with my kids and I jumped on it. So I was working in my office and during my lunch break I walked in on them making paper airplanes by watching a video online and I decided to join in. As I was helping them make the planes, I could just sense this aura of confusion from them since I only ever talked about school. And when I first approached them, they had this guilty expression and I guess just imagined that I was there to scold them for making noise or wasting time or something. This broke my heart that my kids saw me in such a negative light. I always thought I would be the fun parent who hangs out with kids and stuff, but I can clearly see I am nowhere near that image I had. I don't even think I can call myself a parent, honestly. At least not yet. I spent the afternoon making and racing paper planes, and this gave me the idea of doing origami with them. I used to love origami in college, so I ordered a stack of origami paper when I returned to work. The rest of the day was still the same with me working, my husband coming home, and after playing games making dinner, and I went for my run. After dinner, I was still unsure how to approach my husband, and we just continued our routine. At bedtime, I told my husband to relax and that I'll take them to bed and tuck them in. My daughter was surprisingly very happy with this, but my son insisted that only his father can tuck him in, so we took one kid each. This did hurt my feelings, but I guess I shouldn't expect them to take me back seeing as I have been absent emotionally for so long. While tucking her in, she did tell me how much fun it was making paper airplanes and quietly asked if we could do it again tomorrow. I quite enthusiastically said yes and stayed there till she fell asleep. When I came out, my husband was already in our bed on his phone. He looked exhausted. We didn't talk much, and I just got changed and climbed in. Usually I'm finishing my shows, but I came in early. I was expecting a reaction from him, but he didn't say anything. I was about to bring everything up, but chickened out and just went to sleep instead. I didn't know how to even begin talking to him about it. So this is what was happening every day for the next 5 days. I was doing origami with the kids during lunch and tucking my daughter in at night, although I attempted to do it for both my kids every time. I also started waking up early for breakfast and have been cutting down on my personal gym and running time so that I can just sit at the table with the kids while they do their homework. I tried helping my husband with cooking, but he just pushed me out since he has his own system and doesn't want it disturbed. I also started returning his affections post-dinner when they played Minecraft while I watched TV. While he rubs my calf every now and then and lays his head against my knee, I play lightly with his hair. I know he liked to be patted and used to do it all the time when we were dating. He was a little startled at first, but over time started to smiling when I did it. Our nights didn't change much as we both just sat in our bed on our phonies and him just looking exhausted. Update. I must admit I was quite happy with my progress so far and did see it as a big first step into me becoming a better partner. But then something happened and a few days later my husband came to me after work looking miserable. Apparently he'd been given so much work that he couldn't spend any time with us for the foreseeable future and said that he wanted my help with the kids. Honestly, it felt like he wasn't asking his partner for help but begging a stranger for any kind of assistance. That hurt so bad. I, of course, seeing this as another opportunity to be the partner and mother they deserve, jumped on it. I made sure to tell him that he doesn't need to ask me like that and that they were my kids as well and that he's my husband and I'll do whatever I can to help and support him out. After I said that, the expression of pure relief and delight will forever be imprinted in my memory. So for the few weeks I became the primary caretaker of the kids. He'd still help with homework while I couldn't help at all. I tried taking it over for a few days, but it took 3 times as long for us to finish it since I had to look things up for my daughter, and we ended up staying past the kids' bedtime. So instead, I decided on making dinner, but my husband intertwined and ordered takeout. Probably the reason my husband has cooked our entire relationship is because I am a terrible cook and he didn't want me to know. At that point, I felt so defeated that I'm sure I physically expressed it because he just gave me a back hug and smiled and said that he loved me. I didn't let this stop me, and I decided if I couldn't help out in these ways, there are other things I can do. I decided to make sure that I know everything about my kids and help them or even entertain them any way I can. So every day after work, instead of going on the run, I took my daughter on walks while my son rode his bicycle around the block. Since the days are longer now, I thought this would be a fun activity. During this time, I now know that my girl wants to be a scientist like her dad. She likes this ice cream shop in a mall nearby, which only has a few flavors, but they taste amazing. She wants to learn Korean. My husband has been helping her with some basic Korean for months now since he learned it to impress my family. I didn't know this. Yet another failure on my part, so she can talk with my parents in their native language. She loves K-pop, and her favorite group is Mamamoo. Looks like she has my taste in music. And she wants to learn how to do her hair. So since then, I've been talking to her in Korean since it's my native language during our walks, and have been helping her with the workbooks my husband got. Surprisingly, she's been picking it up really fast, and has inspired my son to learn it as well. I have been tucking both of them in, and when I get to bed, my husband is just waiting for me to learn about my day, and after so long, we've finally been getting intimate, and it's been amazing. The weekend pretend games they used to play with their father still happen, but he has asked me to sub in a few times so he can work. Well, I have to say my kids are incredible in making up scenarios and then just improvising as it goes. Clearly they learned it from my husband. Despite all his good qualities, I know for a fact he's an incredible tail spinner and can lie through his teeth and you would never find out or even suspect him. It honestly used to terrify me when I first saw him do it, but he has been nothing but honest with me our entire relationship since he doesn't like it when he lies. So during these games, I still feel the odd one out, but my kids don't pick up on that. Sure, I'm not as great as their father, but I think at this point I can hold my own. I've tried doing their improvising thing or coming up with scenarios, and although they love it, I can tell you, I say some of the most cringy, cheesy lines and ideas you have ever heard, and I can audibly hear my husband hold back his laughter when he hears them. Update 2. Yesterday was the most heartwarming yet somewhat confusing day of my entire life. So the day went by as usual with me making an effort to be involved in my kids' lives, playing games with them, attempting to help them with their homework and showing affection to my husband. The day ended, and after we put the kids to sleep, my husband confessed something to me. My husband found my Reddit post. It turns out that these past few weeks he has been testing to see if I would actually do something with these epiphanies I've had, or am I just going to revert back or quit halfway. He never had that additional work. He has just been playing games on his laptop while monitoring my actions to see if I really meant everything I said in my post about wanting to be better. He said he is willing to work towards fixing things and that he loves me, but he doesn't completely trust me either. He said he's been alone in this relationship for quite a while, and these weeks of having an actual active partner has been more liberating than he thought they would. He made it clear that although he was content with the way things used to be up to point, he was considering separating since everything just felt like a burden. He was putting on an act every time he entered the house, always smiling, laughing, and entertaining everyone in their needs. He wants to get counseling to fix this because he's made it clear if he ever feels like things are going back the way they used to be, he's going to leave cause after experiencing everything. These past few weeks he refuses to go back to it. I'm honestly delighted. Although it hurt to hear him say those things, I understand that they are completely true, and the last thing I need him to do is to sugarcoat his feelings. I'm working on becoming a better partner, and I am absolutely ready to to do everything I can. Update 3. It's been a year and I think I can safely say that my husband and I's marriage has never been stronger. We are equal caretakers of the kids. We play games with them a lot of the time and have many family days out. Just last week we went to a huge waterfall and spent the night camping there, something my son has always wanted to do. My husband and I are having intimacy very regularly and it is electric and passionate, and we go on date nights once every 2 weeks or so and make it a mission to explore as many cool places and restaurants in the city. I myself have now become a professional at playing games with my kids, and dare I say it has reached my husband's level. Not without his guidance, of course, as he has taught me a lot about how to. We did attend couples counseling for a few months and it helped tremendously. Things in my life are overall amazing now, and I have actually found a way to stay active and consistent in the gym and running, even though my involvement with the kids is at an all-time high. My husband and I go together sometimes too, whenever the kids are at extracurricular activities, or if we ever have an off day on a weekday. Life is great.